We're getting new details in a story roiling the tech world today. The founder of Dubai-based messaging app Telegram arrested in France this weekend over the platform's content moderation policies. Prosecutors say his arrest is tied to an investigation opened last month into charges of complicity in various crimes, including the distribution of child pornography, drug sales, and money laundering, and a refusal to work with law enforcement. Let's bring in Deirdre Bosa to wrap it up in today's Tech Check. Deirdre, what do we know?
Well, Kelly, that release you just mentioned from the French prosecutors just out in the last hour or so, a long list of charges, some of them you mentioned. It also says that founder Pavel Durov was questioned and will remain in custody until August 25th. But to really understand why this story matters, you need to understand the role that Telegram, the app, plays. This is one of the biggest social media apps in the world. It has nearly 1 billion users, and it's a critical communication tool in conflict zones, including Russia-Ukraine war. The app's pitch, especially to those kinds of users, is its security through encryption. But as many in tech circles here are pointing out, it's a very nuanced encryption that makes it possible for the company itself to see certain messages and group channels, potentially using it as an espionage tool. Now, founder Pavel Durov, he runs the company pretty much on his own, something like 30 employees. Also at issue in his arrest, though, accountability for social media platforms. And it's also been used as sort of a rallying cry for freedom of speech. Telegram has long been on the radar of law enforcement agencies for its light approach to moderation, illicit activity on the platform. With Durov's arrest, France here is really taking the lead, in line with what we have seen from European regulators intensifying pressure on tech companies to address disinformation and harmful content, especially when it compares to what we're doing here in the U.S. In that vein, an American company caught in the EU crosshairs over data protections today. This morning, Uber was fined with a $324 million fine in the Netherlands for a data breach under GDPR. Uber, in a statement, says that it will appeal and calls the decision flawed, the fine completely unjustified. But this also, Kelly, underscores Europe's aggressive touch when it comes to regulating tech. There will certainly be more to come here.
I mean, I'm just curious to hear any details that we have about all of this. You know, have there been similar arrests prior to him? Was he or Telegram in particular seen as, you know, allowing for behavior that other platforms do not?
Yes. It's certain. Telegram is certainly seen as looser with its moderation policies. The company, in a statement to us, said that, you know, they comply with all EU laws. But, I mean, they do have a history of supporting, you know, even terrorist groups and criminal activity on the platform, and they've shut some of that down. But as I mentioned, law enforcement officials, not just in France, have been looking into this. So it also, you know, because of the way that it's structured, the secret chats, the end-to-end encryption in some cases, that's why it's so useful in these zones. And the founder, I mean, it's really interesting. He keeps a relatively low profile. He doesn't do a lot of media interviews. He does post on Telegram, but the company is really just him. Even if you do a LinkedIn search, you can't find any employees. He told Tucker Carlson earlier this year that there's just 30 employees, and he is worth billions and billions of dollars. So he has a lot of power, and I think that's one of the questions around this, too. What is he doing with it? How involved is he?
And he's Russian, Deirdre?
Russian-born.
So do we know where he was residing?
And the company is headquartered in Dubai, and I believe he has French citizenship as well. He has a number of different citizenships. So it's really sort of this web, and that is what is fascinating tech circles right now, too, is sort of the mystery and the intrigue behind him and the place that Telegram really plays within social media. And also something that, you know, Elon Musk and his supporters have brought up is, what does this mean for freedom of speech? How responsible should these social media platforms be for what happens on them?
All right, Deirdre, I will appreciate it. Keep us posted. I know you will. Deirdre Bosa following this story and bringing to us today for Tech Check.